let's play round 6. Hello YouTube. We have a little bit of a close-up here. I just played round 6 of Menorca Open, which is a tournament that I'm playing right now in beautiful sunny Spain. And the game that I played today was probably one of the best games that I've played this whole year. Very high accuracy. I had an accuracy of 97% basically for this game. So I'm extremely happy with that. And I'm excited to show you how the game went. So, let me sit down by my little wooden table. I was facing Hengyi Chu, a 2200 rated player from China, actually 2282, and I had the black pieces. So he started with the move e4 and I went c5. He played knight f3, I played e6, d4, just takes, knight f6, knight c3. This is a very common Sicilian, and now after knight c6, he played this little passive move bishop e2. And this is slightly passive because you're not as white like doing anything crazy. You're not entering one of the crazy knight b5 lines. You're not taking here and pushing. There's a lot of crazier ways you can play this as white to play more aggressively, but this is a bit of a slower move, but it's very playable. And so here I played d5 because I remember that in Reykjavik I played bishop b4 and I wanted to do something different. So I played d5, which I felt like was more solid. Takes, castles. I simply played bishop e7, developing my bishop. Rook e1, castles, bishop f3, the idea is just to threaten this pawn. And now I had to find a way of defending this pawn because I feel like it was going to be very easy for me to somehow lose it as my opponent is threatening to go bishop g5 and try to take my knight, and then bam, this pawn is going to be gone. So I ended up taking on d4, and after queen takes, my idea was to play bishop e6, defending, and then at some point play rook c8, and then bring up my bishop. So I played bishop e3, I went a6, so that after rook c8, my pawn wouldn't be hanging. And then after rook d1, I finally played the move rook c8. I'm also maybe threatening at some point to play rook c4, but not now, because there's queen takes as my pawn is pinned. So far, easy cruising. Like, this game has been, okay, I've spent 30 minutes, but this game has been relatively simple. It's not been something crazy. I've just had to deal with the situation of how to preserve my pawn. He played h3, which was a very slow move, and I just simply played h6, and now I played queen d2. Now this was the moment where I spent a very long time thinking. This was a huge mistake. I spent I am not proud of this. I spent like 30 minutes thinking here. I think I kind of entered analysis paralysis. I've heard that is a word, analysis paralysis, but I was thinking about so many things because first, my initial reaction was that I have two candidate moves. And this is typically the way we think about moves in chess. We think about candidate moves. What are my options? Initially, my two options were bishop b4 and bishop c5. These were the two things that came to my brain immediately. In fact, first bishop b4 was the main option that I thought, but then I thought bishop d4, and then I didn't really know exactly what to do because I thought maybe here I can play something like, I wanted to play something like knight e8 to move my knight around, but then after a3, bishop here, and b4, after something like bishop c7, there's the move bishop c5, and now this is hanging, the pawn is hanging, a lot of things are hanging. So I didn't really know exactly what to do here. So I ended up not liking bishop b4. Then I was thinking about bishop c5, which initially I thought I liked, but I think ultimately the reason I didn't play this move was because I was scared of my opponent going bishop takes bishop, and after rook takes, knight e2, and now this knight is going to get onto a beautiful square. And there's no way for me to get rid of this knight. Like, this knight is staying here forever. So I thought, okay, maybe I can go something like queen b6, but I'm definitely going to be worse here. So I was really thinking, and I didn't like any of these options. So I thought, okay, is my opponent right now really threatening to go knight e2? Because this is what I thought was his threat. But I thought, okay, if my opponent would go knight e2 right now in this moment, then maybe I can actually play knight e4. So I thought, okay, maybe it's not threatening this. So I ended up actually playing this move b5 simply because of the reason that I wanted to make him make a move. And he actually didn't spend that much time here. He just went a3 immediately. And I was like, okay, well, that was a waste of time for me then. But actually he has this crazy move, bishop takes h6, which is like insane insane right here. But that's another story. But he went a3 because I think he was scared of my pawn pushing, but this felt a little bit passive. Now I went queen c7. The idea is just to bring in my rook. I did not see this idea at any point, neither did my opponent. He went bishop d4. I played rook f d8. And now I play this move, bishop e5. So I simply played queen c6. Just want to get my queen out of the way, and I want to defend this pawn. That's everything that matters. And he played this move, queen f4, and now I realized that it was crucial for me to give away the tension. So I needed to trade these bishops. So I went bishop d6 just to get rid of this really annoying bishop whilst the queen is here, because now bishop takes f6 doesn't work because the queen is hanging.
But I would say that this is something very difficult to understand, that the best for black in this position is to exchange the black squared bishop. What is Anna playing now? I would guess her to go something like rook d7 or something. But she played. Did she go? She played bishop d6. Oh, that was such a beautiful move. She played this. Oh, I'm so happy to see that.
So I played this move, rook d4, and I took, and then I played this move, queen d6. And in this position, this is completely equal. In fact, my opponent was shaking his head, and he was clearly very uncomfortable because this was so equal. So he spent 20 minutes thinking here, and he ended up playing queen e3. I simply went knight d7, and he played rook h5 pretty quickly because he cannot really go anywhere. And then I played knight b6. I was just rerouting my knight. And here I was extremely happy with my position. I thought it's impossible pretty much for me to lose. So far the game has been almost perfect. I'm really happy with how I played the middle game. He played this move, rook h4. This is actually really nice because the idea is that if I go knight c4, he has this crazy move, rook takes h6, sacrificing the queen, because if I take the queen, there is a checkmate. And if I take the rook, he has the move queen takes h6, and I am pretty much getting checkmated. If queen e5, there's the move rook h5. And yeah, I am almost getting checkmated here. This is insanely scary for me.
He has played. What did he play? Did he go bishop e2? Because this is what I think he will play. And no, he played rook h4. He played rook h4. This was absolutely a shocking move for me. He played rook h4. He wants the sacrifice on h6. He wants the sacrifice. But what is this? I am now getting, I don't know what is happening here now.
So I couldn't do this. So I thought, okay, this doesn't happen if I just trade one rook. So I went rook c4. He cannot take here now, because then I will just simply go rook takes h4. And after rook takes, I have this fork. So rook c4 is a good move. And here he actually just went knight e2. I traded a pair of rooks, and then I went for the move knight c4. He played queen d4, and I just simply played queen e5, offering a trade of queens. Takes, he played a4, I went rook c8, threatening this pawn. He took, and played c3. And now, I did the biggest mistake of the game. On move 31, I had 9 minutes to move. It wasn't even an issue about time. I did a terrible mistake, and the reason I made this mistake was so extremely stupid. I realized here that I needed to get into this endgame. I thought because I just wanted a draw. I realized that this endgame is a draw. It is humanly impossible for me to lose this. Why? Because these pawns are always stopping these. Even if we trade knights for bishops, it's just going to be a draw. And actually this king is going to have a little bit of trouble moving because these pawns are so weak. In fact, I think I'm the only one that could have at any point any chance of winning, even though this is a dead draw. But this is as drawn as a game gets. We can sign the papers here. If I would have offered a draw here, he would have taken it. So I realized this, but I honestly cannot explain this. I ended up playing rook c4 because I thought that after knight d4 takes, he cannot take with the knight because the rook is hanging. With 8 minutes on the clock. This seriously happened after a perfect game. And the moment I played rook c4 and he went knight d4, I realized, wait a second. I cannot take this anymore. But then I was so upset about the fact that I hadn't taken it the move before that I ended up taking it now. But now I get into the completely wrong endgame. And this endgame with the pawns over here is much worse for me than the previous one. In fact, this one, if I don't play correctly, I'm losing. So actually after trading, I should have gone something like rook e4, and I should have tried to get rid of this pawn structure, because the problem is that these pawns, my bishop is just so, my bishop is just so terribly positioned behind these pawns. So probably I should have done something like this. Actually, it was still not over here. I didn't realize this. I was really upset with myself at this moment, and I think I started tilting in my brain because I was just so upset that I hadn't taken. And now I realize, I was very clearly, visibly upset at this moment because I realized that I might lose this game. And it was just so annoying because in my brain, I was basically flipping a coin. Should I take this bishop now or should I do it the move later? And I actually cannot explain why I didn't do it now. I think the reason was because I was trying to play a little bit for a win. I wanted to maybe have the option, if he makes a mistake, to go knight d3 or knight c4 and go for these pawns, but I honestly cannot explain it. It was one of these things that just, there's no explanation, which is the worst part. So I went rook c4. It was really just a very stupid thing. Takes, 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 and now I got this bad endgame. And so I started playing here pretty quickly. I was very tilted here. King c5, I went back, king up, and I thought, okay, g5. And so I thought, okay, I should probably put my pawns on dark squares, because if I put them on dark squares, then my opponent will, it won't be, I will not have to defend basically with my bishop, because my bishop is already defending these two pawns. So I went f6 because I didn't want the king to be able to come in. He played knight around, I played h5. We kind of moved around a little bit. And here I have to go h4 actually. If I go h4, once again, it should probably just be a draw. Even though it's maybe not as clear as before, but it should probably just be a draw. But I play this move bishop d7. And now after king e3, I only had a minute on the clock. I must go h4. Instead, I play this move bishop e6. Which I'm kind of placing my bishop on the wrong square. My bishop needs to stay on d7. If I'm going to do something, I need to go king e6. But I play this move bishop e6, and he actually makes a mistake now. He goes h4, he can go knight d4, which is really strong because after this and f4, he's trying to open up a path for the king to come through because my bishop and my king are stuck here defending these pawns. He makes a mistake and he goes h4, and in this position, I actually think I'm losing. I thought during the game that I was losing. So there's only one saving move here, which I didn't find, which was bishop g4. What is the idea of this? The idea is that after takes, I have bishop takes f3, and after king takes f3, I simply take here, and actually I am winning here, so he cannot do this. So after bishop g4, he has to go something like knight d4, and then I can actually just go back, and we can repeat here if we want to. Or if takes and something like f4, then I just simply go g4. And then this position, there's no entrance for the king, basically. Unless he plays f5, but then I have king e5. And there's no checks for the knight. So this is just a draw. So actually, bishop g4 would have been a draw there too. I didn't see it, and I played g4 instead, and just basically lost the game. And this was incredibly upsetting for me after the game. Like, I don't think I've been this sad about a game of chess the past year. I was incredibly upset because I felt like I had played a good game, but the two mistakes of missing knight takes f3 and then missing bishop g4 in a position where I actually thought I was losing already, I thought that it was completely over for me at that point. Those two mistakes ended up being, decisive. So yeah, it was really sad. Honestly, like always, losing these games is incredibly upsetting. Talking about this game is incredibly upsetting because I'm looking back to it and I just know that I could have drawn. It was the easiest draw of my life, and just a combination of two very bad choices made me lose this game, and obviously that is incredibly upsetting. So I was really upset after this game. In fact, I actually filmed this, the day after. I played this game yesterday. I couldn't film this yesterday because I was so upset. And I just spent the whole night like sleeping, basically. I was really sad after this game, and it's part of competition. It's part of competition to feel a lot of things, and yeah, when things don't go your way, you just feel very bad, and that's part of losing. But I've done things like this in chess, and this is more than anything a learning experience. If I see a move that's a draw, just take the draw. Do not overcomplicate it, just take the draw. I knew it was a draw, just take the draw, you don't have to overcomplicate it. So that is a lesson that I learned, and you just have to keep pushing forward. There's really no reason for me to lose this game, but I can't change the past. I can't go back. So just gotta keep on pushing forward and just try to do the best with the rest of the tournament. That's literally the only thing I can do, and learn from this. So yeah, thank you for your support. Thank you for watching, my tournament. Thank you for following me on this journey. And I'm gonna try to not do this again. I am really happy though with how the game went, because I did play at 97% accuracy. So it was an incredibly good game. It was just these 2 mistakes that, were really bad. So thank you so much once again for watching the video. Wish me luck for the next game, and good luck with your chess as well. I hope this is a learning experience for you too. All right, I'm gonna try to play 97% accuracy again. All right, bye.